Hi all, me and Mark will be talking about credential verification use case in Georgia. I'm Shota, Associate Dean of Mathematics, Computer Science and Engineering School at Free University of Tbilisi. Let's start. Before we talk about credential verification system, let me talk about some pain points here in Georgia. Yeah, I'm from Georgia, and when I say Georgia, I mean country, not an US state. Okay, let me paint you a picture. For those of you who have no idea, Georgia is a democratic European country in the foots of Caucasus Mountains with 3.5 million people living here. It's quite technologically advanced with good government services, included digital ones, good banking system, and so on. Basically, modern country. Currently, of course, there are lots of documents and credentials circulating all over Georgia. There are a lot of different types of credentials, most of which are hard copies. Basically, some kind of paper with a stamp on it. Some of them easily forgeable, some of them not so much. The documents can have, so the digital documents can have the digital signatures as well here in Georgia. Yeah, most actively used credentials would be government issued credentials, right? Stuff like IDs, passports, driving licenses, claim of ownership of a property or a company, birth certificates, stuff like that. You can imagine those being in use in everyday life. Schools and universities issue diplomas and certificates as well, and those are credentials, right? The process is a bit complicated, so let me deep dive a bit in it. To get a school certificate, student must, of course, learn appropriate subjects, pass some exams, even learn math, rebel a lot, actually, graduate, then go to the prom with high school sweetheart, basically standard stuff. And after all of that, they can go to the government public office and get the printed certificate. Okay, so they go to the government public office to do that. Strange, right? Government issuing school certificates. But yeah, it's more or less centralized here. So private and public schools alike are obliged to send the info about their graduates to the government. So government kind of knows who finished school and can issue school certificates. Yeah. And school certificates are needed for a lot of stuff. For example, if one wants to attend a university, sometimes for some jobs, the jobs require school certificates as well. So yeah, university diplomas are other cases. They are also credentials as well, of course. But in Georgia, universities are issuing diplomas themselves, so no government involved and no centralization. And you folks can imagine that one needs those like diplomas to start a job, for promotion, sometimes for even getting married. Strange. Yeah, there are a lot of other types of credentials, of course. Personal, professional associations issue membership credentials. People use those for different benefits. Any organization or a company can issue a credential about work experience or salary, right? And one might need this for bank loan, or most frequently, again, to get married. Yeah, yeah, there are marriage certificates themselves. Healthcare system and insurance agencies issue a lot of credentials. Sporting events issue credentials. So there are a lot of those. And we all use those credentials every day. And there are three main problems with all of them. They are privacy, security, and cost. Okay, let me start with the cost. Of course, most credentials are verifiable. That means it could be verified. The credential is, and it could be verified, okay? Take university diplomas, for example. In Georgia, there is a government agency which is responsible for diploma verification. What that means is anyone can go there, bring their diploma with them, and some other relevant documentation, whatever they need, and the agency will verify if diploma is real or not real. Cool, right? The agency will check the identity of the person, contact the university which issued the diploma, and basically verify. It's worth mentioning here that university might not be in Georgia. It might not even be active anymore. So even diploma verification is not as easy as it might sound, right? Sometimes there are, so they are not verifiable at all, right? Okay, so yeah, agency gives back a verification, and the verification is basically the paper with the special stamp on it, right? And then the former student has to go to yet another agency to verify the special stamp with even more special stamp, and then yet another agency under. So, okay, that's not the case here, but you can imagine what bureaucracy can do, okay? So yeah, basically agency gives you the verification, and you can go whatever you want with this verification, and your diploma is verified after that. But of course, that costs money, and you have to pay that. But it's not as important as time. And average, it takes 2 weeks to verify your diploma, and that is really, really high cost. When I started working at Free University, I had to do the same thing, basically. My diploma was not from Georgian universities, so it took 3 weeks to verify. It's quite a long time, I can assure you. Okay, let's talk about the security. It's important as well. A few years back, I had a candidate in the interview who claimed to be an MIT alumni. I checked it myself, and turned out all they've done was visit MIT campus on a 2-day trip. Strange, yeah? But frauds happen. They happen quite a lot, actually. Identity theft, forging credentials, is everyday life for some people. It's a billion-dollar industry. Even government agencies get hacked quite often. So securing one's credentials is not an easy job, especially when credentials are spread between different agencies and organizations. Yeah, that's a really, really big pain here. Yet another pain point is the privacy, okay? And it's most near and dear to my heart. Privacy is the problem most people do not know about yet. There are many angles at play here. We can start. Okay, we can start with, for example, like data generated by me should be owned by me, and not owned by all those big organizations or corporations or a government. My data should be mine, and I should be able to control it however I want, to share with whomever I want. So that's really, really crucial, I think. Government involvement in data privacy is a whole another issue. Some governments do not have a regard for your privacy whatsoever. They want to control your data, and they actually do. Okay, do not want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, okay? But Earth is flat and moon landing never happened. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, but yeah, seems like the phrase "I do not want to sound like the conspiracy theorist" always ends with some BS like this. Let me rephrase. I'm not a political activist or anything, but some governments really do control their citizens' data and know everything about their citizens, and I mean everything. Okay, even democratic governments, like for example in Georgia, have some data about their citizens they should not have. For example, the same diplomas or school certificates. Why should I go to the government agency to verify my diploma? Why should government even know that I have a diploma or a certificate or I finished school or whatever I did? Why this kind of agency even exists? It all boils down to trust, right? Georgian citizens trust government and government manages some of their data. It's easier to implement, but it basically it was easier to implement when it was implemented. Several years ago, we didn't have viable solution to fix this trust issue. But now we do actually, right? And here comes blockchain to the rescue. I will not talk about blockchain, what blockchain is and how it solves the trust problem. Right? I assume we all know that there are proof of work and proof of stake mechanisms to solve the consensus problem in the trustless environment. And that basically means is without any trust, we can come up with a consensus. We can come up with the same state. And that's really, really awesome. It's really, really great problem to solve. Great computer science problems to solve. Okay, I will not go deeper in it, but interesting fact about Georgia is that government knows about all of those problems and it is willing to solve them. And solution is being implemented as a blockchain-based solution, okay? And the solution right now is Atala Prism. In the first stage, high school student certificates and university diplomas will be verifiable using Prism. Later, other credentials will follow, like apostilles, birth certificates, and so on. Government wants to verify as many documents, as many credentials through blockchain as they can, okay? Of course, this all needs government support to change the legislature, as well as sound and reliable solution like Atala Prism. Okay, thank you all. I will now hand over to Mark Griffin, who will demonstrate how Atala Prism can solve the pain points I have described. Bye.
Thank you, Shota, for giving an overview of the credential verification use case in Georgia. Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Griffin. I'm a product manager for Atala Prism. Atala Prism is IOHK's self-sovereign identity and credential verification solution. It is part of a wider suite of enterprise solutions under the Atala brand. So I'll now demonstrate how Atala Prism can power a smarter world and also help resolve some of the pain points that Shota has discussed earlier using our interactive city map, which is part of the Atala Prism website you can see here. So called Metropole City, this is a forward-thinking city that wants to embrace cutting-edge technology. It wants to leverage digital innovation to enable secure, trusted, and private citizen engagements. So we're going to take a journey through Metropole City with Joe. So Joe is a recent college graduate from one of Metropole's third-level universities and will be utilizing Atala Prism in her everyday life. Over time, we will add additional personas, each of whom will have a different set of needs that will be fulfilled by Atala Prism. Part of the mobile first generation, Jo uses her phone for everything. Instead of old-fashioned documents, she wants to store and manage her identity and credentials straight from her phone. So let's select Jo. So now you can see our interactive city map. I'm fully able to interact with it. As a smart city, Metropole is focusing on building a sustainable economy with clean energy such as solar and wind, communications infrastructure such as Wi-Fi and 5G, and smart transport such as cycle lanes and electric vehicles that will help improve citizens' quality of life and reduce pollution. So before we start the journey for Jo, what we want to do now is install the Atala Prism mobile app onto our phone. So Thaler Prism is available in both iOS and Android versions. In this case, Joe has an iPhone. So I've downloaded the mobile app, and I'm now going to basically open it up for the first time. So first it's asking us for access to the camera, and we need this in order to scan QR codes to connect to issuing authorities. So let's get started. So here we can see the benefits of a Thaler Prism. They are owning and sharing your data, controlling your personal information, and getting instant access to services. So it's now asking us to create an account. So before we do that, we need to accept the terms and conditions and privacy policy. So on account creation, a unique decentralized identity or DID is generated. It's important to note that this DID and all data in the app is encrypted. So we use a 12-word mnemonic seed phrase for the recovery process. So if you do lose your phone, you can then recover your data on the app easily. So for demo purposes, I'm just going to take a screenshot of the recovery phrase so that I can verify it easily. But normally this should be written down safely on a piece of paper and securely stored. So let's take a picture. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tick the box that says I understand if I lose my seed phrase, I won't be able to recover the account. So I'm going to accept that. So it's asked me for words 9 and 11. I'm just going to open up the photo. So 9 and 11 is busy and replace. So on verification, the wallet's then created, and that includes the creation of the decentralized identity, and it also holds the personal keys. So what it's now asking us is to connect to an organization in order to receive credentials. So let's start the journey for Joe. So Metropole City, like other municipalities, they want to provide its citizens easy access to services. It has recently announced that all residents will be issued with a new digital identity. As a forward-thinking initiative, this will give its citizens fast and friction-free access to many government and municipal services, making it easier than ever before to take public transport, pay city taxes, and vote on local issues straight from their phones. They are using a Thaler Prism's management console, which allows them to create, manage, and issue digital identities and credentials in a secure and efficient way. So let's get her ID now. So once Joe is identified as a resident, she can then be issued a digital identity. So how does the digital identity be issued to her Thaler Prism mobile app? So this is done by creating a unique QR code for Joe on the management console, and then Joe scans it using the Thaler Prism mobile app. This sets up a secure and private connection between Joe and the government to issue the credential. So Metropole City resident Joe is excited that this verified digital ID enables her to live smarter straight from her phone. So let's see Joe receiving this on our Prism app. So I'm now going to scan the QR code, the app. So at this point, it's asking, do you want to connect with Metropole City government? Let's confirm that. Once confirmed, Metropole City government is added to the contacts list. And you can see here that she should have then received her credential. And this comes up in the notifications. So let's view that credential. Again, it's a credit card style type credential, the full name, date of birth, and expiration date. So let's continue. So next step in Joe's journey is a graduation ceremony from the university, where she will retrieve her physical-based paper degree. However, the university, just like the Free University of Tbilisi, has piloted a new and exciting project, that of issuing digital copies of paper-based degrees. This will reduce fraud and streamline their credential issuance processes. Joe can access the university's website and, using her digital identity, can authenticate herself in order to receive her degree digitally. So let's get her degree. So again, a unique QR code for Joe is generated on the university's website, and then Joe can then scan it using the Atala Prism app. So again, we can see the confirmation to connect to the issuer. Let's confirm that. The university then issues a request for Joe's identity so they can cryptographically verify that it's authentic on the Cardano blockchain. So then able to check their records whether Joe is eligible for a university degree. In this case, they can automatically establish that Joe is eligible and issue the degree. So let's share that government ID with the university. Once that's shared and verified, she then receives a notification of the degree being issued. And again, there's the university degree, again with the usual details, name, degree name, award, and issuance date. So let's continue Joe's journey. So Joe wants to settle in Metropole City. She starts job hunting and sees a suitable position with a new startup company. Decentralized Inc. wants to speed up the hiring process and ensure that they are receiving legitimate academic credentials. They have integrated a Atala Prism into their careers page on their website. Using the Apply with Atala Prism link, Joe can submit an application in one click. So let's apply as Joe now. Again, we're going to scan the QR code. As part of applying for the job, the company issues a request to Joe via the mobile app, asking for both her identity and educational credentials. So again, Joe has to tick that she wants to share these credentials with the employer. Again, the credential is successfully shared. And then she then receives a notification of proof of employment. After offering her a job, she accepts it, and they issue her a proof of employment. This will help Joe when she looks to rent an apartment. Again, a proof of employment credential will have employee name, the employment status, and an employment start date. So let's continue on our journey. Last but not least, she wants to ensure that she gets comprehensive health insurance. So she visits an insurance provider's website. Again, she can apply for insurance with one click using a Atala Prism. So let's sign up for that insurance. Again, he's going to scan the QR code. She's going to connect with the issuer. In this instance, the insurance company wants to verify the holder's identity and employment status in order to process and issue insurance policy. So with her health insurance policy on her phone, she can easily be able to access health and medical services within the city. So here they're requesting government ID and proof of employment. So we're going to share that with the insurance company. Once they've verified those, a notification appears in the mobile app, and there's the health insurance policy now. Again, this will contain details such as the class of insurance, the policy number, and the policy end date. So at this point, we've finished Joe's journey. So I hope this demo has showed the power of Atala Prism in enabling people to own their own personal data and seamlessly interact with organizations in a secure and private way. If you want to experience the demo yourself, please visit atalaprism.io. Thank you for your time and attention. At this stage, I can open up to any questions that you may have.
Hi guys, it's Mark here. I hope you enjoyed Shota's introduction into the credential verification use case in Georgia, and then the follow-up of Atala Prism. So maybe if there's any questions, maybe we can go to the VR room. I can take questions there, okay? Thank you, guys. Thanks all.